Hi, it's Ray from Pitchell Partners. Once you've understood the market, the next step is to position yourself properly. Your CV, your story, and the choices that you've made in your career all influence how other people see you. So let's talk through some of the questions that candidates ask me all the time. What do you think of my CV? Is it too long, too short, too jumpy? So your CV is your story. It's a snapshot of your career so far. Stories have twists, turns, challenges, decisions. That's normal. People like stories, especially when they have logic and direction. Make your CV as long as it needs to be, and then tighten it up. Too short usually means you haven't thought hard enough about the detail. Too long means that you need to sharpen it. And too jumpy isn't necessarily the end of the world. If you've made mistakes or taken detours, if you can explain them and articulate them, what worries employers is not the mistakes, but the lack of self-awareness or defensiveness around it. If you've done lots of roles or contract assignments, make them sound interesting. Show what the challenge was, what you fixed and why it mattered. It's that whole reason for engagement and outcome piece. Does doing a contract or interim role look bad on my CV? I get asked this quite a lot actually, and I'd say absolutely not. Doing interesting work never looks bad. Doing nothing is probably worse. So if you take on a short-term meaningful piece of work that adds value and stretches you, it usually reads well. It shows you're proactive and that you're adaptable. Is a short contract bad? Should I wait for a 6 to 12 month role? Well, it depends largely on your appetite for risk and your financial position, clearly. Short contracts can be great if they're interesting and you're comfortable with uncertainty. But waiting too long for the perfect long-term project can dent your confidence, and the market isn't always kind, unfortunately. A bird in the hand can genuinely be the right call. How long a gap is too long? Ideally, you want to be doing something within 3 months. A 6-month gap usually needs to be explained, not in a defensive way, just honestly. Life does happen, but employers do ask the question, so be prepared to be calm and answer factually. Does taking a lower level role for a short period hurt my career? So I'd say not at all, not in the interim world. So for interim assignments, I often place people above the level of the role that's required. It increases the probabilities for success for everyone. Your job is to take the problem, to fix it and to hand it back in better shape or fixed. That's not a step backwards, it's a contribution to the business. I've been in my role for 3 years. Should I start looking? That's a really good question, actually. There is a pattern I see in corporate careers, which we've discussed before. So year 1, you learn the job. Year 2, you're usually making the changes that you learnt in year 1. And year 3, you're handing the role over to your successor or the next person that's coming along to take over your role, and you've got one eye on the future and what your next role is going to be. If after year 3 there's no natural next move for you and you've delivered everything that you can, your next opportunity is usually outside the business. So a good boss will know this and they'll help you to navigate the transition. Should I tell people that I'm looking? Now that's a tough one. I'd say be discreet. If you've got a brilliant boss who can genuinely add some value and support you and supports your progression and knows that there's no next step for you internally, you can have an open conversation. They might help with introductions. They might help you with CV advice or signalling opportunities in their own network. But otherwise, probably keep the search discreet and control the messaging. So if you're thinking about your next role and want help sharpening your CV or positioning your story, feel free to drop me a line and get in touch. Always happy to steer you in the right direction and help where I can.